Hare Krishna. Welcome to the 12th episode of the Īśopaniṣad series, and today's topic is Īśopaniṣad mantra 11. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahaganathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So thank you for joining episode 12 Īśopaniṣad mantra 11. So word to word, we will read from here, this section. So please repeat after me. Vidyam cha avidyam cha yah tat veda ubhayam saha avidyaya mrityum tirtva vidyaya amritam ashnute. I think the audio, there's an issue with the audio. Hare Krishna. Okay, now I think it's louder. Just now, I think it was not coming from here. Alright. I hope the audio is clear. Kindly let me know. Yes. Yeah. I think I noticed from the... Now I think it's good, right? Just let me know now. Yes. So I actually had to disconnect and connect back the mic. Because the mic was not connected, I could see the audio levels was not so high as and not so clear. Okay, good. Thank you very much. Alright, so line by line. Vidyam chayas. Please repeat. Vidyam chayas. Tadvedo bhayam saha avidyaya mrityum tirtva vidyayamritam Vidyam chayas Tadvedo bhayam saha avidyaya mrityum tirtva vidyayamritamashnute vidyam cha vidyam cha yas tadvedo bhayam saha avidyayamrityum tirtva vidyayamritamashnute. Right, word to word meaning. Vidyam, knowledge in fact. Cha, and. Avidya, nescience or ignorance. Cha, and. Yah, a person who. That, tat, that. Veda, knows. Ubhayam, both. Saha, simultaneously. Avidyaya, by culture of nescience. Mrityum, repeated death. Tirtva, transcending. Vidyaya, by culture of knowledge. Amritam, deathlessness. Ashnute, enjoys. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: only one who can learn the process of nescience and that of transcendental knowledge side by side can transcend the influence of repeated birth and death and enjoy the full blessings of immortality. So, it's a very important point here. Only one who can learn the process of nescience and that of transcendental knowledge side by side. So, we have to know what is material and what is spiritual, both. And of course, the controller of both the energies. So, sometimes devotees are understood to be very naive about the materialistic way of life. They do not know how material world works. It's not exactly that. They know how the material world works better than the materialists. In fact, those who are materialists, who think they know how to navigate themselves within this material world, in fact they do not know. They are so much in ignorance and they are caught by the illusory energy. Whereas the devotee who takes knowledge from Krishna and who takes shelter of Krishna, he can see very clearly how Maya is working and how she keeps everyone under illusion. Whereas the one who is in illusion, he cannot see it. He cannot see it. Just like, when the magician, when he does some trick. So if you do not know the trick, you're like completely, you don't even know how it is done. But a person who knows the trick, he knows exactly what's going on. Basically magic is cheating. Just legal cheating. They call it sleight of hand. Sleight of hand means cheating with the hand. They just distract you and then do what they want to do, and then they will trick us. So that's how Maya is. She knows how to trick us and distract us from the real way of life, and with her sleight of hand and everything, she completely bewilders us. So it's basically cheating. We are being cheated of our real aim of life. But the problem is, we asked for it. Just like the magician does a show and he goes on the stage and cheats, and people actually pay tickets to come and sit down there and enjoy the cheating process. They want to be cheated. They want that tricks, right? So, although he is cheating, the audience paid to come there to see that cheating, right? So that's how we asked for it. We demanded the ticket to come here into this material world, and wanted to be cheated by Maya. So that's how it is, and so we can't be blamed just because Maya is cheating us. But we asked for it. That's like we after paying for the ticket and coming there and sitting down, and then he does all these tricks, and then we can't complain to the government. Say, hey, I paid the ticket to come there and sat down, and he did so many tricks. He cheated me. No, but that's what you paid for, right? So it's like that. We asked for these things. Okay, so we have to know how everything is working, and then we know what to do, what not to do, and then we know how to take shelter of Krishna. And we cannot know, when we say we should know the process of nescience and of transcendental knowledge, does not mean that we have to go into the material way of life and experience it and know it. No. As I said, we will not know that way. By being illusion, we cannot know. Once we take knowledge from Krishna, because he is the source of spiritual energy and material energy, both he is the source. So as explained in the Bhagavad Gita chapter 7, text 4 and 5, you see 4. Bhumirapo nalo vayu khammano buddhireva cha ahankara iti yamme bhinna prakritirashtadha. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence and false ego. Altogether these 8 constitute my separated material energies. So it is his. Krishna is saying my separated energies. So that material, everything that we see in this material world are a combination of these things. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence and false ego. So everything is a combination of these things. That is the material world. Now, next, apareyam itastvanyam prakritim vidhime param jiva bhutam mahabaho yayedam dharyate jagat. Besides these, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mine, that is also his, superior energy of mine, which comprises the living entities, which we are, who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. In the original one they say who are sustaining the universe. So because of them the universe is appearing to be moving. So both the spiritual and material energies are his energies. So he is the energetic and we are his energies. So we both belong to him. So in order to really understand what is the material world and how she works, we need to understand from the owner of both material and spiritual energies. If we try to get knowledge from the material energy about material energy, we're going to be fooled. We have to learn it from the creator of the material energy, and he is the one who will reveal the tricks of her and how actually she is working under his order. Because once we know ubhayorapi drishtontas tvanayos tattvadarshabhi, we have seen that verse also, right? 2nd chapter, verse 16. See, nasato vidyate bhavo na bhavo vidyate satah ubhayorapi drishtontas tvanayos tattvadarshabhi. Those who are seers of the truth have concluded that of the non-existent, the material body, there is no endurance, it will not endure, it will die one day, it is not eternal, and of the eternal, the soul, there is no change. The change means basically death. The change happens only in the material world. Anything that is material undergoes 6 changes, 6 transformations. What are they? Birth, growth, stay for some time, and produce byproducts, dwindle, and vanish. So, vanish means death. So, birth, growing, staying in the, in the so-called, actually not staying, it's also changing, and then producing byproducts. And then, because, why we say staying? Because once it reaches adulthood, our body for example, then it appears to not change anymore. From boyhood, when we are growing, a lot of changes in the first 10 years, 15 years of our life. Our size, our voice, everything changes. But once a certain stage, when we reach adulthood, then it's kind of like constant. It looks constant. So that's why it says stayed. So birth, growth, staying for some time, producing byproducts like family, producing children, and then dwindle, old age, and finally death. So these 6 changes happen in the material body. But of the spirit soul, there is no change. There is no change. There is no deterioration. Change means basically deterioration. So in the soul there is no deterioration, whereas in the body there is always deterioration. By this, the second we come into this material world, it's already, the clock is ticking, and then death is just getting nearer and nearer and nearer. Now, they have understood the nature of material and spiritual energies. By this they have concluded by studying the nature of both. And when we say study from the Vedas, as we have already learned yesterday and the day before. So we have to study from the Vedas to study the nature. Like, we've gone through the examples of like the species of life, for example, 8,400,000 exact number, and the division of the species in water, trees, insects, reptiles, animals, and humans. All these divisions and how many species in each of these categories are all mentioned in our scriptures already. So when we say studying the nature of both, studying means not with our senses, but from the scriptures given by Krishna. So in the scriptures are knowledge of both the material and the spiritual energies, and also the controller of both, which is Krishna. So then we will have a wholesome education. Otherwise, it's all misguided. It's just part, and then you're seeing it from the wrong perspective, and everything is not clearly understood otherwise. So we have to know the both of them. And also Bhagavad Gita, I think I've shown you this, but again, chapter 7, verse 2, Jnanam teham savijnanam idam vakshyam yaseshatah yajñātva neha bhūyonyaj jñātavyam avachishyate. I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and numinous. This being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know. This is important. So here also he is saying in the 7th chapter, 2nd verse, I shall now declare unto you the knowledge both phenomenal and numinous. Phenomenal means the material knowledge, and numinous knowledge means the spiritual knowledge. So both phenomenal and numinous. This being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know. That's true, because everything that we see in this material world is just a combination of these both. There is matter, which is dead, and then it is agitated by the living force, which is the living entity. Only these two energies are working in this material world. Of course, there are so many subdivisions in these two headings, like even the jivas. Like in the material energies, we have the 8 ingredients: bhumi, rapa, analo, vayur, kham, mano, buddhir, ahankar. Then we have in the spiritual, in the jiva, although it is one, then we have different gradations of living beings, like aquatics, trees, and all these things, according to the coverings of the 3 modes of material nature. The gradations in living entities happen because of being covered to different degrees by the 3 modes of material nature. Somebody who is more covered by the mode of ignorance, they are in the animal species. A little bit less covered, like in the human species, and very much uncovered in the demigod. And even among demigods there are so many, and then Brahma is the most uncovered by the 3 modes of material nature in this universe. And of course Lord Shiva is even beyond that. So he is actually the controller of the material energy. So in this way, there are gradations of living entities based on how much they are covered by the Maya. But actually all jivas, all jivatmas are of the same quality, whether Brahma or the insect, same quality actually, but just covered differently. Somebody is more in the mode of ignorance, somebody is more in the mode of goodness, somebody is in passion, like that. So we go to the purport. We can actually map the English to the Sanskrit, but we try to, I think you can, try to do this on your own. I have been doing this, but it is an exercise that you have to get used to, so you can do it on your own. So one who can learn the process of nescience and that of transcendental knowledge side by side. So that is Vidya, process of nescience and that of transcendental knowledge. That is Vidyam cha Vidyam cha yas. Tad Vedobhayam saha. So that Tad Vedobhayam, so that is side by side. Ubhayam means both. Ubhayam means both. So saha means simultaneously. So we have to understand this simultaneously. And then avidyaya mrityum tirtva, by culture of nations, repeated birth and death. Transcending by the culture of knowledge. So we have to transcend the culture of nations by the culture of knowledge. So we have to learn these things side by side. The influence of repeated birth and death, transcend the influence of birth and death, and enjoy the full blessings of immortality. Vidyayamritam. One should learn. Only one who can learn the process. Learn is where Vidya. Amrita means the full blessings of immortality. So in this way, it is, the order is not exactly in the same way. So same order as the order in English of the words doesn't appear in the same order as in the Sanskrit. Okay, purport. Since the creation of the material world, everyone has been trying to attain a permanent life. But the laws of nature are so cruel that no one has been able to avoid the hand of death. No one wants to die, nor does anyone want to become old or diseased. The law of nature, however, does not allow anyone immunity from old age, disease, or death. Nor has the advancement of material knowledge solved these problems. Material science can discover the nuclear bomb to accelerate the process of death, but it cannot discover anything that can protect man from the cruel hands of old age, disease, and death. So basically, we don't want to die. Nobody wants these miserable conditions of birth, death, old age, and disease. But we are forced to go through these things. And how much ever, it's not that, fine, we are going through these things. So let us, by science and technology, try to mitigate these pains. But even with all the advancement of science and technology, birth, death, old age and disease and the pains that come with it have only increased, if not remained in the same degree by this material advancement. It is more the way of life that we have adopted in this urban way of life. It is pretty much very hazardous to our health, mental health, physical health, spiritual health. Everything is very hazardous. We have adopted a lifestyle which is unwholesome. This is not wholesome at all. And our innate, our very, we want to solve the problems by science and technology. But what we have done is even increase it even more. As Prabhupada very nicely explains later on in the purport, we will go there. And here Prabhupada is making in this paragraph, you see, material science can discover the nuclear bomb to accelerate the process of death. Death is already a problem, and these scientists, they are trying to say that we are advancing, but what they are doing is accelerating the process, which is already a miserable condition. They are accelerating the miserable condition. Not just the nuclear bomb, but even by seemingly lesser harmful ways, like genetic modification of the crops, and then there is pollution, air pollution, water pollution, and by even this technology, even this live stream that we're doing, this internet, these waves, these electromagnetic waves, these also actually harm our natural state. So and so many things. I mean, our enterprise, industrial enterprise, is full of so many toxic materials, and also the whole process of working in a factory or working in the offices, and it has become so hard just to earn a little bit of food to live. People don't even have time to eat properly. That much they have to work hard. It has become like that. Whereas previously, just by having land and cows, people could satisfy their material needs. And that's why there is dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So the artha and kama, artha is for economic development, just to maintain the body and soul together. And kama is regulated, the sense gratification is regulated so that we will not be disturbed. Just like if one is not or if one does not marry, if he cannot maintain brahmacharya life, then he may be disturbed, So, okay, to satisfy himself, okay, get married, and in limited way satisfy your senses, but then continue. Don't give up on the spiritual path. So that is the whole point. But they take artha and kama as the aims of life, and dharma and moksha are completely forgotten. Completely forgotten. That is how the modern civilization is. But these four are there to balance and very wholesome, ratio of material and spiritual activities, because we need some material balance. I mean, to maintain the material body, we need to eat, we need to sleep, we need to have a family, we need to have some form of basic kind of defense. So these things are to be catered for by the economic development and regulated sense gratification. But more than that, we should not delve into this economic development. Mostly it's spiritual development. That is what we should be concerned with. But modern science, it has completely rejected the path of dharma and moksha, only artha and kama, and that too just by chasing. If we chase artha and kama, that means accumulation of wealth and sense gratification to the exclusion of dharma and the ultimate aim of dharma or religion, which is moksha. If we do not pay attention to dharma and just want artha and kama, that is going to be very, very troublesome. Very, very troublesome, and that is exactly what modern civilization is. And it is a soul-killing civilization. Soul-killing, of course, we can't kill the soul, but meaning that there is no opportunity for spiritual growth. The time of human life is taken away by this, just to maintain this material body. Work so hard, that's how it is engineered. And they think that is knowledge. That is actually ignorance. From the Puranas, we learn of the activities of Hiranyakashipu. Now, Prabhupada is directing our attention to Hiranyakashipu, who was the most advanced materialist. Nobody can actually come anywhere near Hiranyakashipu's standard of materialism. He was a first-class materialist, and even he could not become successful in his attempts of conquest of the material world and enjoy to the unlimited degree the sense gratification. So even he could not, he did not gain anything from that. In fact, he lost everything by chasing that. So that's why he is now directing our attention to Hiranyakashipu, who is the best sense gratifier, who was the best controller and scientist they can be. Scientists are trying to go to the other planets by spacecraft and all that. He has done it all. He has done it all. Not only he went to their planets and he defeated them and made them his slaves. The kings of those planets became his slaves. So modern scientists can't even imagine the science and technology that Hiranyakashipu had. And we know what happened to Hiranyakashipu. Within a moment he was finished. So that's why Prabhupada is very nicely explaining here how even such a great materialist with all his efforts failed. What we can gain here by following his path in a very minuscule way, not even in the grand way. Now you see, from the Puranas we learn of the activities of Hiranyakashipu, a king who was very much advanced materially. Wanting to conquer cruel death by his material acquisitions and the strength of his nescience, he underwent a type of meditation so severe that the inhabitants of all the planetary systems became disturbed by his mystic powers. We know the story, we have read the Narsimha Leela. I do not know if you have followed us. Most of you have followed. So, you see, with his tapasya, with his strength of nescience, strength of ignorance, the path of ignorance, the culture of ignorance, which basically means to defy the authority of the Lord, that is the path of ignorance, he underwent a type of meditation so severe that the inhabitants of all the planetary systems became disturbed by his mystic powers. Now, see that in this current context also. The technology is kind of a mystic power. Like, I am sitting here alone in this room, and so many of you on the other side are watching this live, sitting in your own homes. This is actually mystic power, which is Sanjaya could do that, in the battlefield. He could see what was happening in the battle. There was also live telecast, but here we have 34 people sitting, as I can see the count here, but there was only one, Sanjaya, and Vyasadeva of course could also see. By Vyasadeva's mercy, Sanjaya also could see. And Dhritarashtra was hearing by practically radio, because live commentary he was hearing from Sanjaya. So they had two people, watching the whole thing. Of course, there are demigods are also. I mean, whenever there is Krishna, the demigods are all interested in that, whatever he is doing. So anyway, by the calculations of the earthly realm, 2 people were watching that live telecast, and now 34 people, 36 people. So it's a mystic power, right? How can somebody sit down in a room and be heard so far away? Like some of you, Virendra Prabhu, and some of you are from India, and Somagiri Prabhu from Hungary, from how many kilometers? We took plane, which is like how many, $1,500, $2,000, flight. We went there, and like about 4,000, 5,000, I don't know, even more, 1,000 kilometers, maybe 6,000 kilometers, or 7,000 kilometers maybe. That far away, and how can I be heard so far? So this is our mystic power. So to an extent, they have replicated, this modern civilization have replicated this mystic powers that people used to have by their yogic powers. They are replicating it by mechanical processes, which are more harmful. Like in the telecast that Sanjay was seeing, the whole Kurukshetra war, there was no waves, there was no radiation, there was no satellite, there was no launch pad, and then some satellite went, and because of that there was a live telecast. No need of all that cumbersome processes. By yogic power they could do it, and it was very wholesome and natural. But now there is pollution, because there is electromagnetic waves, and then there's, you need to send a satellite, and all this Wi-Fi and all these things, internet. So all these things are a replication, but in a more gross way. They used to do in more subtle way, through mind intelligence and all these yogic powers which are more subtle than gross. So, and for example, even nuclear weapons, just by mantra, incantations, they can imbue, an arrow, seemingly an ordinary arrow, they can make it into a nuclear weapon just by chanting mantra. This is a subtle science. What the modern scientists are used to is gross science of Panchabhuta, this gross elements. But the sound, the science of sound is very much unknown to the modern scientist. And also intelligence, mind, how to actually control and get all these yogic powers. All these things are practically unknown to the modern scientist. But Hiranyakashipu was so powerful that by his mystic power, single-handedly he could control the entire universe. So basically it's on the same direction, but much lesser degree, the modern scientists, but pretty much they have also achieved some mystic powers. And here you see Hiranyakashipu underwent a type of meditation so severe that the inhabitants of all the planetary systems became disturbed. And with our modern mystic powers that the modern civilization has acquired to travel very fast, even that is a mystic power. By our own, on our legs, with our legs we can't travel very fast, right? But with a plane now we can travel so fast. Of course now, thanks to the virus, nobody is traveling at all, imprisoned. But the devices to travel are so, this is all mystic power. Sages used to do, within a second, they used to disappear from one place and appear in another place. They used to do that. Now they cannot do as fast, but pretty much there. They can, within a few hours they can be there. How many ever thousands of kilometers it may be. So, and nowadays by this VR and all these things, that virtual reality, all those goggles and all that, they're trying to create this holographic presence of people, and it looks like you're there, right there with that person, kind of replicating that teleportation kind of thing. But you see, they have achieved so many things basically in the same direction, but to a lesser degree and in a more hazardous way. Just like he had disturbed many planets with his mystic powers, today's scientist is disturbing this planet at least. They couldn't extend their disturbance to other planets yet. They're trying now. They're going to other planets and they're trying to go and disturb there. But actually they can't really do much because they will be annihilated there. The thing is the same thing. They are disturbing this planet. How much the planet is now disturbed because of the scientific so-called advancement, we can just see. Okay, now, so here Hiranyakashipu has caused disturbance in many planetary systems. He forced the creator of the universe, the demigod Brahma, to come down to him. He then asked Brahma for the benediction of becoming Amara, by which one does not die. Brahma, Amara means immortality. Brahma said that he could not award the benediction because even he, the material creator who rules all planets, is not Amara, he is not immortal himself, Brahma. As confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 8.17, Brahma lives a long time, but that does not mean he is immortal. So, he wanted to become Amara. He wanted to become, there's a movie, Amarendra Bahubali, he became Bahubali but not Amara. Bahubali means great strength. In fact, he was so strong that even lightning could not pierce his body. So strong. So, Bahu means hands. His arms were so strong. Not only his arms, the entire body was Shilatanka, stone-like body. It cannot pierce. Even lightning cannot pierce. But of course, the Supreme Lord just tore him apart like that. Shilatankana khalaya, Shilatanka, the stone-like chest of Hiranyakashipu. So he was strong mentally and physically, spiritually completely zero. He wanted to become Amara. Only with spiritual strength one become Amara. He wanted to become Amara and Bahubali, but he became Bahubali but not Amara. So that is only available for Prahlad. He became Amara. He was, so much the demon Hiranyakashipu and his men tried to kill him, but he was, and that is real strength. What is the use of strength if we can't defend ourselves against birth, death, old age and disease? Whereas, even with so-called frail material body, if one knows how to become a devotee and attain immortal life, that is real strength. Buddhir yasya balam tasya, as it is said, where there is good intelligence, there is real strength. Whereas Hiranyakashipu became so strong by his material acquisitions, Prahlad Maharaj became even stronger with spiritual acquisitions. Prahlad Maharaj did not go to the mountains and all this severe austerity that Hiranyakashipu did, unimaginable austerity to get a not so powerful position. He could not get exactly immortality from Brahma, although he did such a great austerity for 100 celestial years. But Prahlad Maharaj, without any austerity, he became more powerful than Hiranyakashipu, that Hiranyakashipu could not do anything, and in fact Hiranyakashipu died in his attempts to kill Prahlad by, of course, Narasimhadev. So, because he was protected, like yogi means one who acquires his mystic powers. But a devotee is the best yogi. He has all mystic powers because Yogeshwara, Krishna is Yogeshwara. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partha Dhanurdharaha, Tatra Shrir Vijayor Bhutir Dhruvanetir Matir Mama. This is the last verse of the Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, 78th verse. So he is protected by the Yogeshwar. Therefore, no yogi can compare to a devotee. Because a devotee is protected personally by the Yogeshwar himself, the Lord of Yoga. Whereas a yogi is trying to get some feeble mystic powers, but the Lord is already the Lord of entire mystic power. So that Lord is protecting him. So nobody can do anything. See, wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mystics, wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, there will also certainly be opulence, victory, extraordinary power and morality. That is my opinion. And similarly, Ravana and the Vanaras. Ravana and his son Indrajit means he had already conquered Indra. He had defeated Indra, the king of heaven. Ravana's son. Not even Ravana. Ravana's son defeated Indra. But still, just monkeys defeated him. Monkeys defeated, all the Indrajit and all this. Of course, Lakshman killed him and Ram killed Ravan. But with just a monkey army, they won against all the sophisticated warriors of the other side. Ravana's, materially they were very strong. Spiritually, the Vanaras were stronger because they had Ram on their side. Similarly, Kauravas were so strong, Pandavas materially were not so strong, but because they had Krishna on their side, they won the war. And Prahlad Maharaj, Hiranyakashipu was so strong, but Lord was on Prahlad's side, and therefore Prahlad won. All the time this history has repeated over and over that whoever is protected by the Lord, there is victory, as you can see here. Certainly be opulence, victory, extraordinary power and morality. And Krishna is saying, this is Sanjaya saying, that is my opinion. So Sanjaya is of course a pure devotee. So this is actually the real formula for victory, but they want to do it without this. He forced the creator of the universe to give him the Amara, the immortality, but he could not give. But even that we cannot do. We cannot even force the so-called creator, of this universe, Brahma. We don't even know whether he exists. The modern scientists are not as advanced as Hiranyakashipu in other words. So, Brahma said, I cannot give you immortality because I myself am not immortal. Let's look at the lifetime of Brahma. 8.17 Bhagavad Gita. Sahasrayuga paryantam ahariyad brahmano viduhu ratrim yuga sahasrantam teho ratra vido janah. By human calculations, 1,000 ages taken together form the duration of Brahma's one day, and such also is the duration of his night. 1,000 ages, what is his ages? These yugas, the 1,000 divya yugas. One age means one cycle of Satya, Treta, Dvapara, Kali Yuga. That is 4.32 million years, and that 1,000 ages, that means Sahasra Yuga Paryantam. Sahasra Yuga, so 1,000 times is 4 yugas. So 4.32 million times 1,000 is 4.32 billion years is the duration of one day. And such also is the duration of his night. So another 4.32 billion years is his night. So his 124 hours is 8.64 billion years. And in his month there are 30 such days, and there are 12 such months, and there are 100 such years in the life of Lord Brahma. And if we calculate, we will come to the point of, I don't know if it is mentioned here. Yeah, the entire lifetime of Brahma is this much, 311 trillion 40 billion earth years. That is his life. Fantastically long, unimaginable, but not immortal. So that's why Brahma said, I cannot give you. So then what he did, Hiranya means gold. Now his name Hiranyakashipu, how did he get it? Hiranya means gold and Kashipu means soft bed. This cunning gentleman, Hiranyakashipu, you see how Prabhupada describes him, cunning gentleman. He is completely an oxymoron, completely too. A gentleman, how can he be cunning? Prabhupada used this word like this. It's quite hilarious. He was far from a gentleman, in fact. He was a ruffian so bad that even the demigods, just by his, when he becomes angry and raises his eyebrows, that's it. Everybody is, fearing, and they hide behind the clouds, hide behind everywhere they can and get out of his sight, just by his unfavorable raise of his eyebrow. So, that was nowhere close to a gentleman. But, giving him some respect there. This cunning gentleman, Hiranyakashipu, was interested in these two things, money and women. So actually a real gentleman, he is not interested in these things, right? That's why Prabhupada is like a sarcastic remark. This cunning gentleman, Hiranyakashipu, was interested in these two things, money and women, and he wanted to enjoy them by becoming immortal. He asked from Brahma many benedictions in hope of indirectly fulfilling his desire to become immortal. So another address of sarcastic praise is by Prahlad himself. Just like Prabhupada called him a cunning gentleman, Prahlad called him a first class atheist. Asuryavarya. He did not call him dear father. He called oh my dear Asuravarya. Asuravarya means, oh best of the demons, oh best of atheists. So it is a best, but of what? Atheists. So it's a gentleman, cunning. It's a very good, Prabhupada has his own sense of humor, And he wanted to enjoy them. He wanted money and women. So the Hiranya means gold, this is money. And Kashipu means soft bed. Soft bed means, he wants to enjoy with women in bed. So he wanted to enjoy them by becoming immortal. He wanted this money and women for eternity. He asked from Brahma many benedictions, because immortality, Brahma said no, so he indirectly tried. Many benedictions in hope of indirectly fulfilling his desire to become immortal. Since Brahma told him that he could not grant the gift of immortality, Hiranyakashipu requested that he not be killed by any man, animal, god, or any other living being within the 8,400,000 species. He also asked that he not die on land, in the air or water, or by any weapon. In this way, Hiranyakashipu foolishly thought these guarantees would save him from death. Ultimately, however, although Brahma granted him all these benedictions, he was killed by the personality of Godhead in the form of Narsimha, the Lord's half lion, half man incarnation, and no weapon was used to kill him, for he was killed by the Lord's nails, nor was he killed on the land, in the air, or in the water. For he was killed on the lap of that wonderful living being Narsimha, who was beyond his conception. The whole point here is that even Hiranyakashipu, the most powerful materialist, the most powerful of materialists, could not become deathless by his various plans. What then can be accomplished by the tiny Hiranyakashipus of today, whose plans are thwarted from moment to moment? We had this dream, ever since I was a young boy. I was like in my early teens, like 1998, 1999, everybody was like, wow, 2000, we are getting into the new millennium. It was like a big thing and hype. And 2000 went, and 2001 went, 2002 went, 2003, 2004. But life's just, pretty much the same. And then there was this vision. Everybody was looking for 2020 as the most futuristic, as the most advanced milestone of human civilization, where humans will be like, very, very advanced in the future by 2020. It was a magic number, 2020. And now 2020 has come, and I think in my whole life at least, I think even Sundar Prabhu was saying, 65 years he has been here in this world. So this is the worst year. Never was he locked down like this ever before. And now everybody is just stuck here, and 2020, the dream year, became the worst year, nightmare. The dream became a nightmare. So we have so many plans, and by 2020, we will achieve this, we will achieve that. So many promises were made, and then 2020 came, and the whole plans were thwarted and completely gone. And that is 2020, the big year. So Hiranyakashipu's plan was thwarted, but it was thwarted once. For his entire life, he was successful. But even that we cannot achieve. Tiny Hiranyakashipus, as Prabhupada said. Tiny Hiranyakashipu, what they can do? Whose plans are thwarted from moment to moment. This year already started with bushfires and some big volcano in Philippines somewhere, and then some, I think, earthquake or something. And then this COVID-19 thing happened, and then everything came to a standstill and still ongoing. So I think the entire year will be, the theme for the entire year will be this COVID-19 virus only, and just trying to battle it and trying to recover from it and trying to just fight this whole thing. So that's the whole state of affairs, 2020. I think it will be, this year will be remembered for the rest of our lives. We thought it would be a dream, but the materialists at least painted a dream, but then it became a nightmare. Sri Īśopaniṣad. So basically, the whole point is that even such a greatly accomplished materialist as Hiranyakashipu could not do anything to advance the materialistic life. What can we do? Compared to him, we are nothing. Sri Īśopaniṣad instructs us not to make one-sided attempts to win the struggle for existence. Everyone is struggling hard for existence, but the laws of material nature are so hard and fast that they do not allow anyone to surpass them. We cannot surpass the laws of material world. In order to attain a permanent life, one must be prepared to go back to Godhead. Here, staying here, we cannot solve this problem by adjusting this material life. We cannot make a solution. Real solution means one must be prepared to go back to Godhead and not come back here anymore. The process by which one goes back to Godhead is a different branch of knowledge, and it has to be learned from revealed Vedic scriptures such as the Upanishads, Vedanta Sutra, Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, what is the difference between the atheists and the theists? Now, atheist, he wanted to become immortal, Hiranyakashipu, and modern civilization is pretty much also trying that. Although they know that we are mortals, but they are trying to advance the science and technology as much as they can and trying to prolong their lifetimes in whatever way they can. So, if given a chance, they would want to become immortal for sure in this material body. So, they also want to become immortal. The theists, they also want to become immortal. So, and theists want to be happy, and the materialists also want to be happy. It's not that the theists or the devotees, they like to go away from happiness. Oh, we don't watch movies, we don't play sports and all this. Doesn't mean that they are going away from the path of happiness. They have a different standard of happiness. Now, everybody is chasing happiness, but the right way or the wrong way, that is the question now. Now, those who want to do it the right way, then they have to, that's why here it is said, the process by which one goes back to God, it is a different branch of knowledge. It is not based on our sensory perception, on the sense gratification. Profitless pursuit of sense gratification. Perfect phrase in yesterday's purport, mantra 10. Profitless pursuit of sense gratification. It has, that is a profitless pursuit, but if we want any profit, then we have to pursue in this direction. Take instruction from the Vedic scriptures such as the Upanishads, Vedanta Sutra, Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. To become happy in this life and attain a permanent blissful life after leaving this material body, one must study the sacred literature and obtain transcendental knowledge. To become happy in this life and attain permanent blissful life. So, even in this life you can be happy, and in the next life you can go back to Godhead one must study this sacred literature. By studying the sacred literature, you can be happy here and in the next life also. Whereas the material way of life, in pursuit, profitless pursuit, remember that word pursuit, they are not happy. They are pursuing happiness, and it's a profitless pursuit. So they are not going to get the profit for which they are pursuing. But here, even the process, the pursuit, so-called, of happiness, of real happiness in this spiritual way of life, the process itself is full of happiness. That is explained here in the Bhagavad Gita. Not only is the result pleasurable, that means one goes back to Godhead, yes, eternal life and everything, happiness with God, that is understood, but even the process of attaining it is full of happiness. Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Pavitram Idamuttamam Pratyakshaavagamam Dharmyam Susukham Kartum Avyayam. This knowledge, chapter 9, text 2 of Bhagavad Gita. This knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge, and because it gives direct perception of the self by realization, it is the perfection of religion. It is everlasting and it is joyfully performed. It is joyfully performed. And that is also explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 6. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhaktir adhokshaje ahaytuki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. Suprasidati. What is that? Completely satisfied. The supreme occupation, dharma, for all humanity is that by which men can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendent Lord. That is the real occupation of all human beings, to attain loving devotional service unto the transcendent Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. When it is unmotivated devotional service to Krishna, it completely satisfies the self, even the process of devotional service itself. Therefore, in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami has described the characteristics of devotional service, and this is explained in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 17, verse 95 in the purport. This verse is quoted 1.1.17 in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Sri Rupa Goswami says, Kleshagni Shubhada Mokshalaghutakrit Sudurlabha Sandrananda Visheshatma Shri Krishna Karshini Chasa. Devotional service has 6 qualities. First is Kleshagni. Completely removes all klesha, all difficulties. His life becomes happy just by rendering. Even one, you see, even here in the purport, in the continuation, although Prabhupada did not translate the entire verse as it is, he just is explaining the Kleshagni and the Krishna Karshini and Shubhada. In this paragraph, after this, in this paragraph, he is explaining this, the 3, Kleshagni, Shubhada and what is the other one? Krishna Karshini. 3, he is explaining. Even there, you see, he said, devotional service is Kleshagni even for beginners. This means that it reduces or nullifies all kinds of suffering. The word Shubhada indicates that devotional service bestows all good fortune, and the word Krishna Karshini indicates that devotional service gradually attracts Krishna toward the devotee. And of course, Moksha Laghutakrit means it makes moksha very, very small compared to the achievement of bhakti. One can feel that moksha is not really worth pursuing. It will automatically be awarded to the devotee who has, just like if you're awarded $1 million, do you want $10? No, $10 is already included in that $1 million. So when we get bhakti, moksha or mukti is already included in that. It's a tiny fragment only of moksha, of bhakti. Therefore, moksha laghutakrit, sudurlabha, it is actually very difficult to attain. But, it is, when it is attained, it bestows all auspiciousness and it removes every, difficulty. Even while practicing, even though, that's why Prabhupada said, even for beginners is Kleshagni. And Sandrananda Visheshatma. Sandrananda means it awards intense pleasure, and then it attracts Krishna towards the devotee. Shri Krishna Karshani Chasa. So, whereas here the path itself is blissful, on the other hand, the path is full of trouble, and the end result is a profitless pursuit of sense gratification. It's no profit there. We can't really get the happiness that we want. Even if we so-called achieve our goal, it will not stay. It's going to be temporary. Even if one becomes a millionaire, a billionaire, whatever it is, he has to leave everything and go away. He can't enjoy it eternally. Whereas real knowledge, that is eternal. What is that? Tapodivyam putrakayena sattvam shuddhyed yasmat brahma saukhyam tu anantam. Brahma saukhyam tu anantam. Sukham atyantikam yaddad buddhigrahyam atindriyam. This pleasure is way beyond the sensory pleasure, and it is what is that? Brahma saukhyam tu anantam, unlimited pleasure. The process by which one goes back to Godhead is a different branch of knowledge, and it has to be learned from the revealed scriptures. Okay, we have read that. The conditioned living being has forgotten his eternal relationship with God and has mistakenly accepted the temporary place of his birth as all in all. The Lord has kindly delivered the above mentioned scriptures in India and other scriptures in other countries to remind the forgetful human being that his home is not here in this material world. The living being is a spiritual entity, and he can be happy only by returning to his spiritual home. Just like a fish will be happy only in the water. How much ever we may try to make the life of a fish comfortable on land, we give him nice air-conditioned room and big feast, like 100 preparations or whatever, the fish will never be happy. It will just be, the fish will be, struggling. But if you put it back in the water, so happy. It doesn't need all these big feast or air condition or all soft bed. No, in fact, it is struggling on a soft bed. You put it in the water, even he will go against the current of the river. He will go against the current. He enjoys that. So that much, because that is his natural habitat. So similarly, the natural habitat of the spirit soul of us is the spiritual world. Now we are like the fish out of water, trying to make ourselves comfortable on a soft bed and with gold. How much gold and soft bed you give to a fish, it will not become happy, right? It just has to go back into the water. That's what we need to do. We just need to go back to spiritual world. And there, we don't need all these things. We don't need anything here. We can be completely happy with Krishna in the spiritual world. Therefore, the living being is a spiritual entity, and he can be happy only by returning to his spiritual nature. From his kingdom, the personality of Godhead sends his bona fide servants to propagate this message. See, Prabhupada is like that. From his kingdom, the personality of Godhead sends his bona fide servants to propagate this message by which one can return to Godhead, and sometimes the Lord comes himself to do this work. Since all living beings are his beloved sons, his parts and parcels, God is more sorry than we ourselves to see the sufferings we are constantly undergoing in this material condition. We are foolish and we want to be happy here, but the Lord is feeling sorry for us. That, why you have to stay here, you're suffering, you don't even know you're suffering. And he can award us knowledge, but again, he doesn't want to force it on us. He wants, of course, he is forcing us in one way, because even if we want to be happy, when we try it here, although the Lord seemingly gives facility to exercise our independence, but then, instead of the Lord punishing us, his agency is punishing us, the Maya. So actually, if you study, therefore, there is no independence as such. The independence is only whether I want to be under voluntary control of the Lord or whether I want to be under the forced control of the Lord. That independence only we have, but always under the control of the Lord. We are never out of the control of the Lord, but under the civil law or the criminal law, still under the government. We are never out of the law, even though we may try to be an outlaw. So we are never out of the law, always under the law, and the more we try to be out of the law, we will be under more stringent law. So that's how we are being controlled in this world, and therefore God is more sorry than we ourselves to see the sufferings we are constantly undergoing in this material condition. The miseries of this material world serve to indirectly remind us of our incompatibility with dead matter. See that? The miseries of this material world serve to indirectly remind us of our incompatibility with dead matter. So the reason we are suffering here is it's an incompatible situation. Just like a fish out of water, it is incompatible for the fish to live on land. It just cannot live on land, and we just can't live in water. Yeah, however expert one may be a swimmer, he will not survive in the ocean. Whereas a fish, he can survive easily. Of course, there are so many predators there also, but that's his natural habitat. Whereas humans, we can't live in the water, and the fish, they can't live on the land. So our natural habitat is where we will be the happiest, and our natural habitat as spirit souls is the spiritual world. So when we become miserable here, when there is any miserable situation in this material world, therefore devotee is not discouraged, he is just encouraged that Krishna is just reminding me of this real truth of the material life, and is just showing me that it's incompatible. I cannot be happy here, so I shouldn't be endeavoring for happiness in this material world. So Krishna is just reminding me by this distressful condition that I am undergoing, and therefore I should be just becoming more and more serious in executing Krishna consciousness and devotional service. So that's how we should take every miserable condition as. Intelligent living entities generally take note of these reminders and engage themselves in the culture of vidya or transcendental knowledge. Intelligent living entities take note of these reminders. The foolish, how many reminders you may show, will never be. Therefore, there's a nice verse in the 2nd chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Ascharyavat pashyati kaschidenam Ascharyavat vadati tathaiva chanyah Ascharyavat chainam anya shrinoti Shrutvapyenam vedana chaiva kaschit. Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, and some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. The reminders that we get are just when we face any reversals in life, they are just reminders that this place is not for us. Yes, so this place is not for us. That's what the reminders is for, right? So we just have to contemplate. Yes, I am actually the soul. I'm not part of this material world. So the miserable condition reminds us of our eternal nature. Oh, I am a soul. I'm. But here, after hearing about the soul even so much, nothing will happen. Nothing. What is that? You see, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. So how many ever reminders in spiritual knowledge or due to material circumstances, how much ever he is reminded that he is a soul and he should not chase this profitless pursuit of sense gratification, he still does so. That is a sign of a fool. He can't take any reminder, any advice, any instruction whatsoever, directly or indirectly. Directly about spiritual life, he is not interested. And even indirectly, when Maya hits him hard, he doesn't question, why am I being hit hard? So he just simply tries to chase those material pursuits of sense gratification. So an intelligent living entity, they take note of these reminders and engage themselves in the culture of Vidya. Therefore, when there is a reversal in the life of a devotee, he becomes even more reading the Bhagavad Gita more, chanting more. He becomes more devotee, more stronger devotee in the times of challenge rather than in the times of happiness. It's easy to forget sometimes, especially when we are not advanced. A pure devotee never forgets Krishna, whether in happy or unhappy conditions. But usually, third class devotees, when we are advancing, in materially comfortable situations, we tend to forget. We tend to relax it a bit. But when there is a challenging situation, then our prayers become more fervent. Our prayers become more feelingly. That's why Bhagavad Gita 2:44. It is said, Bhogaishvarya prasaktanam tayapahrita chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhi samadhau na vidhiyate. In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. So if one has so much enjoyment, so much material happiness around him, the resolute determination to become a strong devotee is very rarely to be seen. That's why Kunti Devi, she says in the Bhagavatam, 1st canto, 8th chapter, verse 26, I guess. Janmaishvarya shruta shribhir edhamana madah puman naivarhatya bhidhatum vai tvama kinchana gocharam. My Lord, your Lordship can easily be approached, but only by those who are materially exhausted. One who is on the path of material progress, trying to improve himself with respectable parentage, great opulence, high education and bodily beauty, cannot approach you with sincere feeling. But 8th canto, 22nd chapter, 26th and 27th verse. 26. Janma karma vayorupa vidyaishvarya dhanadibhi yadyasya na bhavet stambhas tatrayam madanugraha. If a human being is born in an aristocratic family or a higher status of life, if he performs wonderful activities, if he is youthful, if he has personal beauty, a good education and good wealth, and if he is nonetheless not proud of his opulences, it is to be understood that he is especially favored by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That even after having all these things, if he is not, and therefore, next verse, manastambha nimittanam janmadinam samantatah sarvashreyah pratipanam hantamuhyen namatparah. Although aristocratic birth and other such opulences are impediments to the advancement in devotional service because they are causes of false prestige and pride, these opulences never disturb a pure devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, a real devotee, even if he has these things, he will not be disturbed. But generally, for the general devotees, especially in the third class, it is so distracting. And therefore, he takes whatever reversals that come in life as springboards to success in spiritual life. You know what's a springboard? When you jump on it, like I think you have seen those swimmers, when they jump from, the springboard and then they, do all those gymnastics and go into the water. That is a springboard. So, the springboard goes down, when he jumps and presses himself on the springboard, he goes down. But then that down is not really a down, it is actually, then he jumps even higher. So like that, a devotee, for him, the so-called downs in his life, if he is strong devotee, then he will see those so-called downs as actually springboards of jumping even higher in spiritual life. So that's how we should take it always. Everything is the blessings of the Lord. Even the so-called, unfavorable circumstances, quote unquote unfavorable, because they are not actually unfavorable. We, with our limited vision, with our imperfect vision, we will see it as unfavorable, but actually the Lord has His perfect plan for the devotee. So even if it seemingly looks unfavorable, it is, if again we take to devotional service strongly, then only it will be a favorable thing. The same beating, if we, like the example of Prabhupada losing his business, for example, as a Grihastha householder. An ordinary man loses his business, he will go and have a drink or, just try to forget his loss, and because so many years he spent, building that business and he got cheated, and then, to forget that loss, he will just do all kinds of crazy things and he'll go into depression. But Prabhupada, he was so encouraged. Oh, now is the time I should really forget all this, even though he was trying to earn that money to print books and expand the Krishna consciousness movement. That was his plan. But still, you see, when Krishna thwarted that plan, he took it as Krishna's desire. He did not go and fight who was the manager who cheated him, and how can he do this, and this is injustice, I have worked so hard to build this business. No, he just, all right, Krishna's plan, fine. So that is called tolerance. You see how tolerance helps. He tolerated that, all right, fine. He just took it as Krishna's plan, moved on in his spiritual life. Therefore, the 2.14, Bhagavad Gita 2.14, we have to tolerate ups and downs. Just imagine if Prabhupada did not tolerate that and he went after the person and tried to file a lawsuit and this and that, and he would have won or lost. Maybe most probably lost, maybe because he's a clever crook, he cheated very well. But that whole thing will just divert the attention from the real focus of life. Real focus is to advance in spiritual life. So therefore, we should not make things more cumbersome for our advancement in spiritual life. Not that we should be cowards, especially although, a good example actually, Prabhupada, because when he saw that his manager cheated him, he did not really pursue it and he took it as Krishna's desire. But when he was fighting for the Bombay land, the ISKCON Juhu that is now there, that Prabhupada fought in court against that Mr. Nair who was trying to take away that land from the devotees and then trying to cheat them of the land. So Prabhupada was fighting so hard against it, and he got his disciples to fight so hard against it. Why? For Krishna he will take all kinds of troubles, but for himself, no. So in the matter of propagation of Krishna consciousness, we should spare no effort. We should leave no stone unturned in the matter of pursuing the progress of the movement of Krishna consciousness. We should take all risks. We should take all, it's not that we behave like fools and jerks, but Not that, we go on a big protest and, make a whole ruckus. No, we have to fight very hard for the Krishna consciousness movement, and sometimes it involves challenges. Sometimes it involves, like many times in Prabhupada's time, the devotees were arrested by the police. Just for doing the Sankirtan on the streets. So many times the devotees went into lockup in the police station. But they came out and did the same thing again. They came out and did the same thing again. Until the police just gave up on them. So sometimes they have to go through these things. And what happened in Russia was even worse. They went through so much torture for Krishna consciousness, to establish Krishna consciousness in Russia, USSR at the time. So it was communist and big problem in Russia at the time. But even few devotees died while preaching because of the torture that the government did. But they still went ahead. So for the Krishna's sake, we should be prepared to take all trouble. But for ourselves, we should not make our life more cumbersome. Fighting for Krishna's sake, that is the most glorious, even if we die fighting for Krishna, that is the most glorious death on the battlefield of preaching. If one dies, that is the most glorious death. So we should never be too much affected by the negative situations in life, seemingly quote unquote negative situations in life, because these are all springboards to spiritual successes if we stick to the process of Krishna consciousness. If we forget, if we go in the path of, okay, let me just drink some beer, just forget this whole thing, it's depression, that is a different path. It's a mode of ignorance path. But spiritual path is when we take it in the right frame of mind and take it as Krishna's mercy. Yasyaham anugrahanami harishyatadham shanai. Tato, we have seen that, right? Just go there and come back. 10.88.8. 10.88.8. Shri Bhagavan Vacha. Yasyaham anugrahanami harishyetadhanam shanaihi tato dhanam tyajantyasya svajana dukkha dukkhitam. The personality of Godhead said, if I especially favor someone, I gradually deprive him of his wealth. Then the relatives and friends of such a poverty-stricken man abandon him. In this way he suffers one distress after another. Next. Sayada vitathodyogo nirvinnah syad dhanehaya matparaihi krita maitrasya karishye madanugraham. When he becomes frustrated in his attempts to make money and instead befriends my devotees, I bestow my special mercy upon him. Next. Tad brahma paramam sukshmam chinmatram sad anantakam vigyayatmataya dhirah samsarat parimuchyate. A person who has thus become sober fully realizes the Absolute as the highest truth, the most subtle and perfect manifestation of spirit, and the transcendental existence without end. In this way, realizing that the supreme truth is the foundation of his own existence, he is freed from the cycle of material life. Actually, there is a nice verse quoted in the comment section. We'll go to that verse. 11:22:58. 11:22:58 and 59. Kshipto vamanito sadbhi pralabdho suyitothava taditah sanniruddho va vrittya va parihapitah nishthyuto mutrito vagnair bahudhaivam prakampitah shreyas kamah krichragata atmanatmanamuddharet. Even though neglected, insulted, ridiculed or envied by bad men, or even though repeatedly agitated by being beaten, tied up or deprived of one's occupation, spat upon or polluted with urine by ignorant people, one who desires the highest goal in life should, in spite of all these difficulties, use his intelligence to keep himself safe on the spiritual platform. This is so nice. Even if one is insulted, ridiculed, envied, repeatedly agitated by being beaten, tied up, deprived of one's job or occupation, and even if they spit on us, even if polluted with urine, even if they urinate on us, we should. This pure devotee. To achieve this kind of tolerance is, it's that is what we need to. Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishnuna means this. Even if you urinate on a tree, the tree will not protest. The tree will still give us shade, still give us the fruits, everything, right? So that is the meaning of tolerance. Why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said tolerant like the tree? Because it is the embodiment of tolerance. It is the symbol of tolerance. The tree, spat upon, tied up, beaten, insulted, neglected, ridiculed, envied. Even in spite of all these difficulties, one should use his intelligence to keep himself safe on the spiritual platform. How to keep safe? By chanting Hare Krishna. Kirtaniya Sada Hari. Spiritually safe means, I have to find some shelter. No. Spiritually safe means not forgetting Krishna. Because once you forget Krishna, Sahanistan Mahachidram. This was 2.9.36 purport. 2.9.36 Bhagavatam, and the purport you see, Sahanistan Mahachidram. 1 second. See how many verses are quoted here. Vishnu Puran, Sahanistan Mahachidram Samoha Sachavibhramaha Yanmuhurtam Kshanam Vapi Vasudevam Nachintayet. If even for a moment remembrance of Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is missed, that is the greatest loss, that is the greatest illusion, and that is the greatest anomaly. So, that is the unsafe position. Spiritually safe means always chant Kirtaniya Sada Harihi. By how? Tolerating whatever they do to us, tolerate. But then, if a Vaishnava is insulted, if I am insulted, this should be my behavior. Trinadapi sunichena, tarorapi sahishnuna, amanina manadena, kirtaniya sadhara. But if another Vaishnava is insulted or ridiculed or envied upon, then we should take it very seriously. We should fight against that. Or if the Lord is, ridiculed or, envied upon, we should fight. So, Krodha Bhakti Bhakta Dveshijane. So that is the proper usage of anger. But for oneself, one should be very tolerant. But for Krishna, we should take all pains. So coming back here, intelligent living entities generally take note of these reminders and engage themselves in the culture of Vidya or transcendental knowledge. Human life is the best opportunity for the culture of spiritual knowledge, and a human being who does not take advantage of this opportunity is called a Naradhama, the lowest of human beings. And one who takes the advantage of the opportunity, he is called a Mahatma or Narottama, the best of human beings. Narottam Das Thakur, we have Narottama means the best of human beings. Naradhama means the worst of human beings. The path of avidya or advancement of material knowledge for sense gratification. You see, avidya is the path of advancement of material knowledge. Knowledge seemingly vidya, but the path of advancement of material knowledge is avidya. When I was small, as a kid, we were made to do Saraswati Puja. Whenever the Saraswati Puja, Ganesh Chaturthi, we bring all our difficult subjects, all the textbooks of, what is the difficult subject, okay, bring all those textbooks, keep in front of Mother Saraswati, and pray for her blessing so that we can pass the exam, get good grades. So basically, we were praying to Saraswati, the goddess of learning, to give us the blessing of avidya. To give us the blessing, so-called blessing of ignorance. Real Saraswati, every day in the morning, Bhagavatam class. Before the Bhagavatam class, we say Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. We offer our respectful obeisances to Mother Saraswati every day before the Bhagavatam class, because that is knowledge. Before reading the Bhagavatam, we pay our obeisances to the spiritual master, to Vyasadeva, to Naranarayan, and to Mother Saraswati to help us, bless us as we are advancing, as we are reading the Bhagavatam. By her blessings, we can understand what is in the Bhagavatam. So, by the mercy of the spiritual master, by the mercy of Vyasadeva, by the mercy of Krishna, by the mercy of Mother Saraswati, that is real learning. But putting these textbooks, modern this mundane education, and putting that in front of Saraswati, and no, I want. But here it is said, the path of avidya or advancement of material knowledge for sense gratification. All that knowledge, exam passing, what is that for? That is for simply getting a livelihood for sense gratification. So that is the path of avidya. The path of avidya or advancement of material knowledge for sense gratification is the path of repeated birth and death. As he exists spiritually, the living entity has no birth or death. Birth and death apply to the outward covering of the spirit soul, the body. Death is compared to the taking off, and birth to the putting on of outward garments. So, vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya. So just like we change dress every day, so we are changing bodies every life. But the soul is the person and the body is the dress. Foolish human beings who are grossly absorbed in the culture of avidya, nescience, do not mind this cruel process. See that? Foolish human beings who are grossly absorbed in the culture of avidya, nescience, do not mind this cruel process. Enamored with the beauty of the illusory energy, they undergo the same miseries repeatedly and do not learn any lessons from the laws of nature. Whereas the devotee always takes clues. Whenever there is a reversal situation, alright, Krishna is giving me a clue, alright, I should not pursue in this way, I should become serious in spiritual life. So he is just showing me what material life is. So he takes clues. Directly, of course, we get so much. We have to learn from the spiritual master what is Krishna, who are we, and how to actually progress in devotional life. And indirectly, all these things, like reversals in life, or seeing other people's reversals and see how material nature is acting, how it is dangerous. Not just our own reversals. Even when we see other people in suffering, then we should understand that, you see, this is how Maya acts in various ways, because she gives suffering to different people in different ways. So by observing all these things, we should see that this path of material life is not worth pursuing. The result is always, every time we are seeing the result is something bad. That's why we'll just go to this verse and come back. We have seen this verse, but again, 7.13.26. Tatrapi dampatīnām ca sukhāyānyāpanuttaye karmāni kurvatāṃ drishtva nivrittosmi viparyayam. In this human form of life, a man and a woman unite for the sensual pleasure of sex, but by actual experience, we have observed that none of them are happy. That's what we should see. Everybody who, not just family life, everything about material life. Like the advertisement of Maya is that, come to me, enjoy me, you will be happy. So that's the invitation of Maya. So in all forms, not only about family life is also, we have to always notice how different families are having different set of problems. If not this problem, then another problem. If not that problem, then another problem. If not that problem, another problem. It is never a happy situation. It's never a comfortable situation. Some people think, in my family only this problem is there. So you see, their family is so good, they are all very cooperative. But they have other problems which we don't even know. So actually, it's just a platform of problems. If not this, then that. It's only problems. And it's not that we should immediately run away from the responsibilities. The basic thing about family life is, although despite all inconveniences, we should work for their spiritual benefit. That is the only thing. If that is also not possible, then sannyas. If after trying all that not possible, okay, take sannyas and get out from the whole situation. So that is there. Therefore, we should see and say, Maya advertises in other ways, like look at this, technology, distracts us in various ways, right? Or sports, or all these attractive features of Maya, materialistic life. But then you see the consequences. What is the real? So we should always contemplate on these things. What is the real deal in this? Although there is so much hype, like for example, a great soccer player or a great football player, or soccer and football. I mean soccer and cricket, and or a good actor. Now, as much fame as they get and as much they become popular among the people, but you see the essence of it. What did they achieve in terms of the value of human life? So we should not be distracted by the so-called hype, because that is just the advertisement of material world. Just like when you market a product, this marketing works in any field. What they do is they show testimonials of people who have gone through that, and who use that product and how they feel about it. So when everybody says it's good and good and good and good, then, and nowadays also when they see any YouTube video, they see the comments, what people say. Well, everybody is, saying good and good and good, and okay, this is something which is okay, this is something legit. That is how Maya gives us the illusion that everything is nice, because she puts all these people who comment or who give testimonials who are in illusion, and their testimonials, what is the use of their testimonials? But Maya arranges her own army of these people who give nice testimonials about materialistic way of life, about earning money, about so many materialistic plans, and they say this will work, this has worked, and what has actually worked? Did they get out of birth, death, old age and disease? That thing we should never forget. We should observe not only in our life, reversals or whatever, we should observe the illusion in everything that is there in the material world through the eyes of the scripture. Everywhere how the illusion is working, we should see in every step of our lives, and always be conscious of how Krishna's Maya is working to keep everybody in illusion. Not that we find fault with everybody and see everybody is in illusion. I am the only pure devotee who is seeing everything right. That means we are also part of that illusion. The moment I think like that means the Maya is illusioning me or putting me into illusion of pride. And with that, I think I am better than anyone, and in that way my pride increases, and pride goes before fall. So I am also enamored by Maya. So it is not about hey, see, everybody is suffering and everybody is foolish people, and I am the biggest man, I am the best, only I understand what is spiritual life. That means we are also straight, going into the same direction. So we should always be humble at the same time, and just observe and take guidance from the spiritual master and try to help everybody. When we see their suffering, on one side we should understand that we should not pursue in that path. On the other hand, we need to try to serve them and help them understand the real thing, how they can really become happy. So for that, we have to be absolutely convinced and not be fooled by any advertisement of Maya. Any advertisement of Maya, we cannot be fooled by that. And we should in fact convince them who are enamored by Maya by giving them Krishna consciousness, distributing books, let them read Prabhupada's books, or let them be convinced that Maya will come out. So we should be always focused that how much ever they are saying they are happy, they are foolish, they are not happy. Sukhavan manyate grihi. He is just imagining that he is happy. He is not happy, but he is imagining. So we have to get them out of that, get them out of that illusion by giving them Krishna consciousness, giving them prasadam. So giving them books and inviting them and explaining to them. In this way, engaging in service, getting them to chant slowly. This is what preaching is all about. Understanding the problem, staying away from it, but at the same time going and helping them who are in the problem. Just like now in the COVID-19 situation, the doctors, they stay away from the problem by wearing all those protective gear and the mask and the face shield or whatever, and gloves and everything. And so they stay away from that problem. They understand, okay, this is infection. I should be taking care to protect myself. At the same time, they administer help to the patients. So that's exactly how preaching is all about. It's protecting ourselves with our own sadhana by taking shelter of Krishna through the bona fide spiritual master by following all his instructions, and helping those who are actually suffering. But we should be careful that if the doctor removes his protective gear and gloves and everything, and he intimately, tries to so-called help, but then he doesn't protect himself, he's going to get infected as well. Similarly, in the name of preaching, we cannot let go of our protective gear, which is our sadhana, our spiritual strength. Waking up early in the morning, attending Mangalarati, chanting 16 rounds, and reading Prabhupada's books, eating only Krishna Prasadam, association with devotees, and always thinking of Krishna and how to push on this movement. That thing will protect us. These things that Prabhupada gave us, our daily sadhana, will protect us. Then only we can actually administer any help. Otherwise, we ourselves will get infected. We go and so-called, try to do some preaching in the name of preaching, and then I go there and then he says, okay, come, let's have some food. Okay, I'll make friends with him and then I'll preach to him a little later. Okay, I'll go, food with him. Otherwise, he will see me as, I'm not like so friendly. So therefore, maybe he will not listen to my Krishna conscious talks. So therefore, okay, I'll be friend with him. Okay, let's go and eat. So I'm getting infected. And then slowly, then he said, let's go for some maybe a pleasure ride or maybe some wasting time, some movie or something like that. And we to make friends, so-called make friends and make them devotees in the name of that, we are getting led by them, and then we lose. We are letting go of our protective gear, and then we are getting infected by them. So that is taking association. We should not be too concerned whether that person is going to really take it or not. We should just try to help. If that person does not want, leave him alone and go to another person. We should not be attached to the person. We should be attached to Krishna. And if we can get him attached to Krishna, well and good. But if we're going to give up Krishna and get attached to him or her, that is going to be path to hell. So just like Bharat Maharaj, he was meditating and he got attached to the deer. He should have understood that, Krishna is there, whatever is ordained, it will happen. If this deer has to be protected, he will be protected. If he has to be killed, he will be killed. I should not waver from my duty. He is worrying about that one deer. There are so many deer in different parts of the world, and so many deer are in trouble, and so many zebra, or so many lions, so many tigers are hunting so many animals. Why did he not take care of all those deer and zebra, and why he's only worried about this one deer? This is attachment. By saving one deer, how much difference is it going to make? Another 1,000 million deers are, not deers. Deers is wrong. Deer. The plural is also deer, right? So all the millions of deer and the zebras and whatnot, all kinds of bison or whatever it is. All those animals are being killed by lions or tigers, and so this one lion is just trying to chase the deer, and then the cub fell, and then he took so much compassion on them. Why not others then? This is attachment. So one should know that Eko bahunam yo vidadhati kaman. Krishna is taking care of everyone. We cannot really help anyone. We ourselves are bound. So we should first of all get out of the material clutches. So when we try to preach, how are we helping? We are sharing Prabhupada's words. We're repeating what Prabhupada says. That we should do because that is the order of the spiritual master. Part of the sadhana is also to preach, because Prabhupada's order was to every devotee, preach this to others. Spread, distribute my books. Because we sometimes maybe can't. Actually, we can't. We can never preach perfectly. Because he is realized soul. He is Tattvavit. He is seeing Krishna. So, he is on that platform. We are convinced because of him. Because he has said that. We are convinced about it. Otherwise, we have not seen Krishna. How come we have dedicated our life for this? By the blessings of Prabhupada, by the conviction that he has shown in Krishna, we are inspired to become, to surrender our life for Krishna. Not that we have really seen Krishna, not yet. Right? So, inspired by the example of the Guru, of the spiritual master Srila Prabhupada, that's how we take inspiration. By seeing another devotee take shelter of Krishna. So that's how we should be inspired. So foolish human beings who are grossly absorbed in the culture of avidya nations do not mind this cruel process. Enamored by the beauty of the material energy, they undergo the same miseries repeatedly, birth after birth, and do not learn any lessons from the laws of nature. So much clues are being given, but they don't learn. That is the foolishness. Just like animals, a goat, when it is on the path to the slaughter, there are so many goats in line, and every goat is being chopped. But this goat, he is happily eating the grass, just busy. Foolish, he can't even see that the goat in front of me is being chopped, or his head is being chopped. So like that, we are so foolish. Therefore, the culture of vidya or transcendental knowledge is essential for the human being. Sense enjoyment in the diseased material condition must be restricted as far as possible. Sense enjoyment should be restricted as far as possible. Unrestricted sense enjoyment in this bodily condition is the path of ignorance and death. In animal life, there is unrestricted sense enjoyment. In human life, there is restriction. There is vivaha. There is marriage. Otherwise, man can have or woman can have a relationship with many men or women, right? But limited to one by marriage. Why? Because that is restrict the sense gratification, so that real aim of life, the spiritual life, is not forgotten. That is the real meaning of marriage, to restrict the sense gratification to one partner, so that the rest of the time can be used in spiritual life, instead of just like going here and going there and going and messed up, whole life messed up, no spiritual life. But nowadays, even after marriage, there is just simply sense gratification only. There is no spiritual life. Even if there is only one partner, if there is no spiritual life, there is no benefit from that marriage, because the marriage is to restrict the sense gratification so that time can be saved up for spiritual life. But if we take to this marriage and then there is no spiritual life there, what is the use of taking to this? Sense enjoyment in the diseased material condition must be restricted as far as possible. Unrestricted sense enjoyment in this bodily condition is the path of ignorance and death. The living entities are not without spiritual senses. That means we have spiritual senses. Every living being in his original spiritual form has all the senses which are now materially manifested, being covered by the material body and mind. So, a dress, this body is compared to a dress. So, if the body has hands, that means the soul also has hands. Just like a dress, a suit is stitched like suppose a custom-made tailored suit. It's sewn according to the shape and size of the hand, right? Of the hand and the body and all that. So similarly, our dress is fashioned after our real form in the spiritual world. So the spirit soul has form, but now all those senses are covered by these dress senses. Just like when we cover the hand with a glove, the glove has 5 fingers. That's because our real hand has 5 fingers. If the real hand has 20 fingers, the glove would also have 20 fingers, right? But that will be a little gross to look at. But that's how our body is fashioned after our dress is fashioned after our body. Similarly, our body is fashioned after the soul. So, if this body has senses, that means the soul also has senses, actual, real senses in the spiritual sense. But they are covered by this, clothed by this body. The living entities are not without spiritual senses. Every living entity, we have read that. The activities of the material senses are perverted reflections of the activities of the original spiritual senses. Perverted reflections of the activities of the original spiritual senses. In his diseased condition, the spirit soul engages in material activities under the material covering. Real sense enjoyment is possible only when the disease of materialism is removed. Sense enjoyment, like Krishna is called Govinda, the giver of pleasure to the senses. But what senses? The spiritual senses. So our senses we can enjoy, but when we engage ourselves in the satisfaction of Krishna's senses, Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam. So when we engage in Rishikesha Sevanam, the master, in the service of the master of the senses, Rishika means senses. Rishika Isha is Rishikesha. So Rishikesha means the master of the senses. The master of the senses is Krishna. And when we serve him, then our senses also become pleased. And that's how, he is called Govinda. He is a giver of pleasure to the senses, but it's not that he will give us all material sense pleasure, sense gratification. No. By serving him, we get the pleasure, because just like when the hand puts the food in the mouth, by the digestion, the hand also will get energy. Although, on his own, if the hand tries to eat the food, the hand cannot get energy. The hand cannot eat the food. But if the hand takes the food and put it into the mouth, then by the digestive process, the hand also will get energy. So similarly, when we ourselves cannot enjoy the senses independently of Krishna, when we serve Krishna, our senses also become satisfied and completely suprasidati, completely satisfied. Whereas if we try on our own, it's going to be fruitless. Therefore, Prabhupada said, real sense enjoyment is possible. Real sense enjoyment means the enjoyment of real senses, not this material senses. The real senses of the spirit soul. So the real sense enjoyment is possible only when the disease of materialism is removed. In our pure spiritual form, free from all material contamination, real enjoyment of the sense. Okay, so a patient must regain his health before he can truly enjoy sense pleasure again. Thus, the aim of human life should not be to enjoy perverted sense enjoyment, but to cure the material disease. So we have to come out of the material contamination. We should not increase the contamination more. So a patient must regain his health before he can truly enjoy sense pleasure again. If he has some disease and he wants to enjoy his senses still without getting cured, then he will be in more problems. Just a second. Yeah. So he'll be in more problems. Just like if a diabetes patient, if he wants to eat all sweets and everything, then he'll be in bigger problem. So thus the aim of human life should not be to enjoy perverted sense enjoyment, but to cure the material disease. Aggravation of the material disease is no sign of knowledge, but a sign of avidya, ignorance. Aggravation of material disease means making it even more. That's why Prabhupada will explain now. For good health, a person should not increase his fever from 105 degrees to 107 degrees. This is in degrees Fahrenheit, not in degrees Celsius. Degrees Celsius would be 39.6, I think. No, 39 degrees Celsius. And then, wait a second. See, still doing some tricks, this computer. Okay. So, for good health, a person should not increase his fever from 105 degrees to 107 degrees, but should reduce his temperature to the normal 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. That should be the aim of human life. The modern trend of material civilization is to increase the temperature of the feverish material condition, which has reached the point of 107 degrees in the form of atomic energy. 107, if you get 108 degrees Fahrenheit temperature, you're dead. So that, I think it corresponds to about 40 degrees or 40 something degrees Celsius, and that's when one loses his life. I think there has not been a temperature of more than 108 degrees Fahrenheit and a person still living. So the feverish, the modern trend of material civilization is to increase the temperature of the feverish material condition, which has reached the point of 107 degrees in the form of atomic energy. Meanwhile, in other words, atomic energy is life-threatening, right, to the entire human race and even other races, other species. Meanwhile, the foolish politicians are crying that at any moment the world may go to hell. That is the result of advancement of material knowledge and the neglect of the most important part of life, the culture of spiritual knowledge. Sri Īśopaniṣad herein warns that we must not follow this dangerous path leading to death. On the contrary, we must develop the culture of spiritual knowledge so that we may become completely free from the cruel hands of death. This does not mean that all activities for the maintenance of the body should be stopped. There is no question of stopping activities, just as there is no question of wiping out one's temperature altogether when trying to recover from a disease. To make the best use of a bad bargain, the temperature is 105, okay, let's make it 0. 0 means dead. So it has to be brought. So Prabhupada is saying it's not about stopping activities. Just like there's no question of wiping out one's temperature altogether when trying to recover from a disease. To make the best use of a bad bargain is the appropriate expression. The culture of spiritual knowledge necessitates the help of the body and the mind. So if we want to cultivate our Krishna consciousness, we need the help of our body and mind. As long as we are in this material world, we need the help of the body and mind, right? One second. Okay. We need the help of the body and mind because we need to do services, so many service with our hands, with our mind, with our speech, with our legs. We have to do so much service. So we need the body and mind to be in a healthy condition. So therefore, maintenance of the body and mind is required if we are to if we are to reach our goal. Just like if you want to go somewhere in a car, the car has to be in a good condition. You have to take care that the car is in a good condition so that it can help us reach the destination. But if we just get enamored by the beauty of the car and how can do this modification, that modification, make it all look cool and with lights and everything, but I don't reach I don't go anywhere. I spend all my money here only on the car, and that is foolishness. So that's what we are doing at this moment. We are just trying to decorate this car of the body, but we're not going anywhere with that car. So the car has to be maintained. There has to be some maintenance of the car so that it can help us reach the destination, which is the spiritual world, Vaikuntha. So in that manner, the car is necessary. Therefore, the maintenance of the body and the mind is required if we are to reach our goal. The normal temperature should be maintained at 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. And the great sages and saints of India have attempted to do this by a balanced program of spiritual and material knowledge. They never allowed the misuse of human intelligence for diseased sense gratification. Human activities, so important to see, they had a balanced program of spiritual and material knowledge. That's why there is dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Otherwise they would have just said moksha. Moksha, that's it, right? But why they had this dharma or dharma and moksha? Why artha and kama? If they are problematic fields. They are not problematic fields. They are meant. But if they're meant for the maintenance of the body. But if we just become focused on artha and kama to the exclusion of dharma and moksha, that's when it becomes a problem. So it is required the artha and kama in the pursuance of the real thing, which is moksha, which is attained with dharma, real dharma. So the sages, they never allow the misuse of human intelligence for diseased sense gratification. Human activities diseased by a tendency towards sense gratification have been regulated in the Vedas under the principles of salvation. Regulated. This system employs religion, economic development, sense gratification and salvation. But at the present moment, people have no interest in religion or salvation. You see this, exactly the point. They have only one aim in life, sense gratification. And in order to achieve this end, they make plans for economic development. Their plan is kama, sense gratification. But because kama cannot be had sufficiently without artha, therefore they pursue artha or wealth. So therefore wealth and sense gratification have become the center. That's why economic development is considered the index of advancement of an individual person or a country, anything. If you have money, you have power. Because power means what? Power to enjoy sense gratification. Misguided men think that religion should be maintained because it contributes to economic development, which is required for sense gratification. In the Vedic way, yes, if that cycle of sacrifice, if you remember from Bhagavad Gita, Saha yajñāha prajaha srištva purovacha prajapatihi anena prasavishyadvam esha vostvishta madhuk. In the beginning of creation, the Lord of creatures sent forth generations of men and demigods along with sacrifices for Vishnu and blessed them by saying, be thou happy by this yajna, sacrifice, because its performance will bestow upon you everything desirable for living happily in this life and achieving liberation in the next. Then he said, Devan bhavayatanena te deva bhavayantu vaha parasparam bhavayanta what is that? Shreyam, Shreyah Paramavapsyatha. The demigods, being pleased by sacrifices, will also please you. Thus, by cooperation between man and demigods, prosperity will reign for all. And prosperity means artha. And once you have artha, then there is kama. So, by satisfying the demigods through the process of dharma, the karma kandiya portion of the dharma, we can get artha, then kama. So they think the Vedavada Rathas, those who are in the so-called study of Vedas, they think Vedas or dharma is meant for economic development. That economic development is meant for sense gratification. And when the sense gratification is frustrated, maybe after many lives, then search after moksha. That is their whole point. But it is to regulate actually. And in the modern way, they also look at religion as an opportunity for economic growth. In the sense that they have festivals like, Christmas or Deepavali or Janmashtami or, so many festivals, right? In all religions. So whenever there is this festival season, there is so much shopping. Oh, everybody have discounts. That increases the economy. Everybody wants to purchase new clothes or new gifts or this, that. And then that increases the economic condition, the spending. And everybody will make money in that season. So, religion for the purpose of economic development. It's just a namesake. Nobody is interested. Christmas is supposed to be, worshipping Christ or Jesus. They don't care. They just give gifts to each other. Or even, some people they do. But again, how much they really follow, we don't know. And same thing with Hinduism or any religion. They have these festivals, but then it is just for economic development. Even the persons, like I have seen, we have this 1 month fair, expo just before Deepavali festival. In that festival, the Deepavali means actually Deepavali was when Ram was invited back to Ayodhya. Sorry, not invited. He came back to Ayodhya after killing Ravan. Then they welcomed him with all the lamps. And Krishna also killed Narakasura. So that is Deepavali. But they forget all these things. They just give gifts to each other and then just have party, and sometimes they even have meat and they have, alcohol and everything, and they engage in all kinds of, sinful activities. So this is, and they do these crackers, in India especially, so much pollution they create. And all these things, they forget the real thing. The real thing is to worship Krishna. Whatever they do, it all should be centered around Krishna, but that is not there. So this so-called religion nowadays has become for just economic development. It is just, there's no meaning. They think religion does not have any practical use. It is just something, remnants of the past civilization or whatever. We just have to bear with it, and if possible, make money out of it. Festival, just start a shopping season, so everybody shops and discounts and everything. Everybody shops. So if that can be done, well and good. Yeah, we'll have holidays for religion. And nowadays they've started even festivals without even religion, like in the Lazada and Amazon, Alibaba and all this. They have this another kind of festivals like 1/1, January 1st, February 2nd, March 3rd. So 1/1, 2/2, 3/3, 4/4, 5/5 until 12/12. So they have special discounts. Oh, this is a big festival. What is so big about it? They just make up these festivals just for economic development. It has become like that now. The economic development is the main thing they want. Okay, we'll go back to the misguided men think that religion should be maintained because it contributes to economic development, which is required for sense gratification. Thus, in order to guarantee further sense gratification after death, in heaven, there is some system of religious observance. This is, of course, speaking of the Vedic way, where, at least there is some heavenly life in the next life, that way. There is further sense gratification, further economic development. Thus, in order to guarantee further sense gratification after death in heaven, there is some system of religious observance, but this is not the purpose of religion. The purpose of religion is actually meant for self-realization, and economic development is required just to maintain the body in a sound, healthy condition. A man should lead a healthy life with a sound mind just to realize vidya, true knowledge, which is the aim of human life. This life is not meant for working like an ass or for culturing avidya for sense gratification. The path of vidya is most perfectly presented in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which directs a human being to utilize his life to inquire into the absolute truth. The absolute truth is realized step by step as Brahman, Paramatma, and finally Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead. This is actually the translations of 1.2.10, 1.2.11, 1.2.12 and all this from the Bhagavatam. So, our human life should be, we have to utilize our life to inquire into the absolute truth, and we should keep our material life to the minimum just for the maintenance. The absolute truth, sorry, I just hit the camera. Okay. The absolute truth is realized by broad-minded men the absolute truth is realized by the broad-minded man who has attained knowledge and detachment by following the 18 principles of the Bhagavad Gita described in the purport to Mantra 10, yesterday's purport. 13th chapter, 8 through 12, all the verses. The signs of knowledge, the symptoms of man in knowledge. So the absolute truth is realized by the broad-minded man who has attained knowledge and detachment by following the 18 principles of the Bhagavad Gita described in the purport to Mantra 10. The central purpose of these 18 principles is the attainment of transcendental devotional service to the personality of Godhead. That is the central thing. If that is achieved, all the 18 will automatically be achieved. Therefore, all classes of men are encouraged to learn the art of devotional service to the Lord. This will solve all problems. The guaranteed path to the aim of Vidya is described by Srila Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which we have presented in English as the nectar of devotion. The culture of Vidya is summarized in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.14 in the following words. Tasmadekena manasa bhagavan satvatam patih shrotavyah kirtitavyascha dheyah pujyascha nityada. Therefore, with one pointed attention, one should constantly hear about, glorify, remember, and worship the personality of Godhead, who is the protector of the devotees. Unless religion, economic development, and sense gratification aim toward the attainment of devotional service to the Lord, they are simply different forms of nescience or ignorance, as Sri Īśopaniṣad indicates in the following mantras. So now, the next three mantras they have the same pattern as the last three mantras ending today. Day before yesterday, yesterday and today. The three mantras that we read, the next three mantras have the same pattern but about religion. If this was about knowledge, the same thing about religion. So we will go and see that tomorrow onwards. Alright, that is the end of the session. The last question, okay, we'll go through the first question and all, but the last question by Mr. Kupusami, Marudumutu. So, the question is, what is the Ashtanga Goka? What is that? Did you mean Ashtanga Yoga or what? So, kindly elaborate, kindly clarify that. Then we will see. Okay. Questions. First question by Ajanya Mataji, Bhakti Ajanya from India. Is number of breaths determine our lifespan? Yes, so that is what I heard in Ayurveda. The number of breaths determine our lifespan. If we breathe faster, then we are like, that's why the yogis basically they prolong their breath very long, and therefore they live for hundreds of years. That's what they say in yoga, that if you can prolong your breath, then you can prolong your life. But then as devotees, it's not about prolonging our life. That is not the real aim of our life. Our life is to become Krishna conscious, because even after that, suppose you have managed to prolong the breath and lived for 1000 years, and after 1000 years went to hell. So what it was hell already, all this tapasya and austerity for 1000 years to prolong the breath and just give up all sense gratification and do all this breath control, and after 1000 years go to hell or anywhere in this material world. So what is the real What is the real benefit from that? Tarvah kim na jivanti. The trees, they also live, right? They also live very long lives, thousands of years. What is the point? What is the point? Real life is that of meaning. It has to be meaningful, not long. It has to be meaningful. What is that? There's a saying, I forgot anyway. So Virendra, Bhakta Virendra, next question. Bhakti yoga is sublime process as compared to other yogic paths. However, many people don't take sublime path of bhakti to attain Supreme Lord. Is it due to desires, past karma or maya acting that jivas don't take path of bhakti? Bhakti is the most simplest path. But because they don't like to surrender to the Supreme Lord, the reason why we are in this material world is because we don't want to surrender to Krishna. So that's why anything that necessitates surrender to the Supreme Lord, they don't want. They don't want to give up their sense gratification. So in other paths, like in even Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga and even demigod worship, there are promises of, what is that? There are promises of sense gratification. Whether as a karmi or a jnani or a yogi, even mystic powers is a kind of sense gratification. It's actually bigger sense gratification. So it is all promising sense gratification, and that's why people are willing to undergo those tapasya. Whereas bhakti involves giving up of sense gratification. That's what they don't want. So they want to take any effort and any trouble to chase sense gratification. But even the simple path of bhakti they don't want to take because it requires giving up of sense gratification. So how foolish they are. They are prepared to undergo all trouble for sense gratification. But they don't want to take the easy path by giving sense gratification up and serving Krishna. That is why, because of the illusion they don't. Vanajakshi Mataji. So 2000 such 4 yugas? Yes. So during the night of Brahma there is no yugas. There is just night. Only until Svargaloka it is all submerged in water. The universal waters, they rise in the level of the water. There is a huge rise in the level, and now it is all the Tala, Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Rasatala, Patala, all these 7 lower planetary systems, they are submerged, and Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka, Svargaloka is also submerged in the universal waters. And only Janaloka, Mahaloka, Tapaloka, Satyaloka, these 4 planetary systems are not submerged during the night of Brahma. So there is no yugas as such, it's just night, but then it's that long. It is as long as the day. And after that, when Brahma wakes up, then when he's sitting on the lotus, then he wakes up, then he sees the water level so high and he becomes afraid actually by seeing the water level so high. Then again he engages himself in penance, and then again he actually forgets how to create also when he wakes up. Just like when we wake up we are like groggy, then we forget actually what are we supposed to do. It takes some time for us to the Paramatma from within to remind us of, hey, yeah, I need to do this, I need to rush to the office, or I need to do that and this. Then we remember. So the first few minutes are like a little bit groggy, we are like, we're not, So Brahma is also a little bit groggy when he wakes up. And then he needs Krishna to again give him the intelligence to create all the lower planetary systems, recreate them again. And the water level subsides, and then again he has to create all the way from Svargaloka, Bhuvarloka, Bhuloka, Tala, Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Rasatala, Patala, all planetary systems he has to create again, and all the hellish planets. So the 1000 cycles is the day when everything is going on, all activities are going on. But in the night, these are submerged, and above there is night. And night in those realms, how much ignorance is there in the night, I do not know. Whether they sleep completely like us, like complete ignorance, we are completely lost when we are sleeping. Because even the death of the higher planetary systems, it is not exactly like our death. It's not as painful as here, although there is death. So their sleep, how it is, I do not know, but it is night there. So, but yes, the time span is of 2000 cycles of the 4 yugas, that time span. But there is no 2000 cycles going on there. Only 1000 cycles, and then that is during the day, and then after that is night. Is that there is no information that there also there is Kali Yuga while Brahma is sleeping and Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga. No, it's all night. Bhakta Virendra again question. So just like Lord Krishna appears only once in a day of Brahma, so also the other incarnations of Vishnu such as Vamana, Narsimha, Parshuram, Ram appear only once in the day of Brahma? No, in fact. Varaha came 2 times at least in this day of Brahma. There is the red Varaha and there is a white Varaha. Shveta Varaha. Now we are in the Shveta Varaha Kalpa. In this Kalpa, he came as Shveta Varaha, white Varaha. And another Kalpa, he came as, Kalpa means one Divya Yuga or one cycle of the 4 Yugas. So in this Kalpa, this is Shveta Varaha Kalpa, but there was a red Varaha Kalpa. So other incarnations, it is not mentioned that he only comes once in the day. He can come more than once in the day. But Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu come only once in the day of Brahma. Bhakti Najanya. Does chanting help to reduce the breathing rate? Again, our point is not to reduce the breathing rate so that I can live long. That's not really our thing. We are into remembering Krishna. Because even the main thing is Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram yad prayati samadbhavam yati nastyatra samshayaha. 8.5. So if we can remember Krishna at the time of death, that is our success. So we have to mold our lives in such a way that whether it be short or long, let it be in remembrance of Krishna. And whoever at the end of his life quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt. Therefore in Srimad Bhagavatam there is this other verse, Canto 2, Chapter 1, Text 6. एतावान् सांख्य योगाभ्याम स्वधर्मं परिनिष्ठया जन्म लाभ पर पुंसाम अन्ते नारायण स्मृतिः. The highest perfection of human life, achieved either by complete knowledge of matter and spirit, by practice of mystic powers, or by perfect discharge of occupational duty, is to remember the personality of Godhead at the end of life. That is the perfection. To remember the personality of Godhead at the end of life. That is the highest perfection of human life. Not anything else. Not this long life and all that. We are not into this. Bhakta Virendra. Srila Prabhupada says, in chanting, mind is not involved. You need to chant loudly from mouth and listen holy names attentively from ears. Is this attentive chanting by which mind feels absorbed in chanting which is required for soul purification? See, in order to attentively chant, you need your mind, right? When Prabhupada says mind is not involved, means you are not trying to think of Krishna, the form and pastime. We are not trying to impose on the mind how to, we have to now think of Krishna this way, that way. We have to still use our mind because mind is the chief of the senses. So with the mind we have to tell our senses, our ears to hear, our mouth to chant. So still mind is attentively means what? Mayarpita manobuddhir. But that mind should be used for hearing instead of thinking about Krishna and thinking about the pastimes and all that. That will happen at a later stage automatically when one attentively hears. When one chants in pure love of Godhead, then he is automatically all the pastimes and everything manifest. Sri Radhika Madhavayorapara Madhurya Leela Gunarupanam Nam. So the spiritual master is always thinking of the pastimes of Krishna, pastimes of Radha and Krishna. So he's always going on. That is the meditation of the pure devotee. But in the beginning, to try to think of Krishna, think in this way, think in that way, that Prabhupada said, don't do it. Just listen. But to do that also requires the involvement of the mind. Okay, next question by Virendra. Has the Supreme Lord, who has created false ego and gross material bodies of humans, makes them forgetful of the Supreme Lord and take to devotional service, which is the path to attain spiritual world? I don't know what the question is. He has created all these material elements to facilitate our material desires and also for our purification. Basically that. Okay, so then next question by Bhakta Virendra. Why don't modern day schools and colleges teach Krishna consciousness, Vidya side by side with material knowledge? when you have Vidya, like we are reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, there is already material knowledge inside this. There is no need of learning in a separate material knowledge as given by the so-called modern education system. Don't think that our knowledge does not have material education. Why is there dharma, artha, kama, moksha? Why? What is the? There is material knowledge, there is economic development, there is everything, but to the point of minimum. And that is our knowledge. It is not. So when we learn Vidya in our terms, in our scriptures, there is no need of extraneously reading any other thing. There is no need of extraneous education for materialism. Therefore, Prabhupada also wanted a Gurukul system where only this is taught without any material syllabus. Just a little bit of reading, writing, a little bit of mathematics and general geography and general history, and then rest is just this scriptures. So that is what is real education. So when there is Vidya of this from the Vedic scriptures, there is no need of that other thing. It is just producing Sudras and with no practicality in life. And these university graduates, many times they can't even cook. Many of them can't even cook their own food. What is the use? I mean, life skills, basic life skills they don't have. They can't even make up their bed. They can't even take a little bit of austerity, sleep on the floor even. They can't even do simple things, wash their clothes and everything they can't do. So that's why we keep our material life to the simple, and then simple living, high thinking. That is real Vidya. So you don't need another system of education. No need. This includes everything. Wholesome education. Okay, next question. What is it? Ashtanga Yoga. Yeah. So it is Ashtanga Yoga. So Ashtanga Yoga means what is that? Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. So this is Ashtanga Yoga. 8 parts of yoga. Well, I don't know. I don't want to go through the whole thing. It is there. The whole 8 forms. So basically, the whole process is to mechanically control the senses and engage them in the service of Krishna. But it's a very mechanical process. Whereas the process of devotional service is far superior, because directly we are engaging our senses in Krishna's service, so automatically Indriya Samyama, or the control of the senses, is already there by engaging in Krishna consciousness. So it is actually a superior process than Ashtanga Yoga. Ashtanga Yoga is a very laborious process, and also the success is not guaranteed. Whereas devotional service, even little we do on this path, will never go in vain. So there is ultimate success here. I can go into deeper explanation of Ashtanga Yoga, but we want to keep it short. Bhakta Prabhakar. Hare Krishna Prabhu, Muslims say Allah is Supreme God, Christians say Jesus, we are telling Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. How we can tell them Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead? So God has unlimited names. Allah is one of His names. Christ is one of His names. Namna Makari Bahudha Nija Sarva Shaktis. He has millions and trillions of names. So these are all His names. Allah means the Almighty. Christ means the Anointed One. Buddha means the Enlightened One. So these are all names of God. Krishna is the perfect name of God because it involves everything. It includes Almighty, it includes the Enlightened One, it includes the beauty, everything is involved in Krishna. When we say Krishna is all attractive, Krishna means all attractive. And when a person will become all attractive, when a person becomes attractive, when he has some opulence. Opulence does not only mean riches or wealth. As Parashar Muni has given in the Vishnu Puran, Shadaishwarya Purna, that means six types of opulences. What are they? Aishwaryasya samagrasya viryasya yashasasriyaha jnana vairagya yoschaiva shannambhaga itingana. So there are 6 opulences. If anyone has any in this material world, not talking about God yet, even any normal human being, if he has any of these 6 to even a little bit higher degree than others, he will become attractive to others. What are they? Aishwaryasya, wealth. If one is wealthy, he becomes attractive to many people, he or she. Aishvaryasya samagas viryasya. If one has strength, he also attracts a lot of attention. Attracts. So strength. So Almighty, Allah means Almighty, the Creator. So might is one of these 6, the strength. So like for example, say Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee, everybody knows. What is it? Arnold Schwarzenegger, strong man. Okay, everybody knows. So strength, or it can be physical strength or influential strength, like say Napoleon or Hitler or Churchill, or even in the past, what was that? Genghis Khan. So all these different rulers were there. They are also strong in influence. So either physical or influential strength, that is attractive, or whether positively or negatively, people will talk about you, right? So it attracts attention. And various yashasa, fame, like all these pop stars and movie stars, they have fame. So anybody who is famous, he becomes attractive. And then shriya, beauty. If somebody is beautiful, is attractive. One who has jnana, knowledge, he also becomes attractive. And finally, vairagya, detachment, complete detachment. So whoever has, like even monks are revered everywhere because it is not easy to do what they have done, renounce material pleasures, but they have done. So people respect them. So these things, and if you may say no, music is also one of them. People who sing, all this is in the thing of knowledge. All these art forms are actually in the brackets of knowledge. Knowledge involves all these things. So whether it be language or whether it be anything, all the skills that are there, these are all knowledge. Now, so these 6 things, if anybody has any of these things, even to minute degrees, he or she becomes attractive. So Krishna means he has all these 6 in infinite quantity. That is God. So that's why Krishna is the perfect name for God, is the most complete name for God. Because it involves Almighty, it involves beauty, it involves the enlightened one. The Buddha means the enlightened one. Enlightened one means one who has knowledge. The anointed one means one who is very beautiful. Everything is already included in the Krishna. Bhagavan. Bhagavan means he has all these 6 bhagas. Shannam bhaga itingana. Shanna means 6. Bhaga means these opulences. Bhaga means opulence. Bhagyavan means one who is fortunate, one who is blessed by that fortune. But here Krishna is the owner of all this fortune. So he is the owner, Bhaga. That's why he is called Bhagavan, one who possesses these bhagas. So therefore he is all attractive, and therefore his name is Krishna, and therefore that's the most perfect name, although every other name is referring to him only. So any name is good. Any name is good. We chant Krishna's name because that is given by the Shastras and Acharya, and it is said, and actually again maybe we'll go there. Let's see how. Okay, you see here. Although there are many names of God, why we chant the Hare Krishna mantra? It's this. And this is Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, chapter 9, verse 32, quoted from the Brihad Vishnu Sahasranam of Uttarakhanda of Padma Puran. Sri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Bhistulyam Rama Nama Varanane. Lord Shiva addressed his wife Durga. O Varanana, I chant the holy name of Rama 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 and thus enjoy this beautiful sound. This holy name of Ramachandra is equal to 1000 holy names of Lord Vishnu. Like Vishnu Sahasranama. Sahasranama means 1000 names of Vishnu. One Rama, one holy name of Ramachandra is equal to 1000 holy names of Lord Vishnu. Although all are names of Vishnu, again, the benefit we can get. Now, our life is short. We need the maximum benefit in the shortest time. So we need a concentrated medicine, concentrated drug to save ourselves from this material world. So what can give the maximum benefit in the shortest time possible? So that's why. So Rama is equal to 1000 names of Vishnu. Now next verse is also this is from Brahmanda Puran, which is also found in the Laghu Bhagavatamrita by Rupa Goswami. Sahasranam nam punyanam trir avrityatu yat phalam eka vrityatu krishnasya namaikam tat prayachati. The pious results derived from chanting the 1000 holy names of Vishnu 3 times. Okay, the pious results derived from chanting the thousands holy names of Vishnu is the name of, you will get the same by chanting the name of Ram. But 3 times of the 1,000 names, that means 3,000 names can be attained. The pious results derived from chanting the 1,000 holy names of Vishnu 3 times can be attained by only one utterance of the holy name of Krishna. So now you imagine, if you calculate, there are how many Krishnas? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. So 4 Krishna, 4 Ram. So 4 times, so 12,000 and 16,000 holy names. 16,000 names of Vishnu by one Mahamantra. So you see how much Krishna wants to save us, so that in the short time of Kali Yuga, which we don't have lifespans like Valmiki who lived for 60,000 years before he got perfection, and other great sages who lived for thousands and thousands of years. We have very short time. In that short time, we have to make as much advancement as possible. So therefore, this holy name is given to us. This Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That's why it's called the Maha Mantra. Alright, next. Vrajakishore Prabhu. Kalpa is 1 day of Brahma, isn't it? Kalpa, is that 1,000? I always get. Yeah, 1 Kalpa is actually, yes. Not 1 Divya Yuga. It's 1,000 Divya Yugas, which is 1 Kalpa. Yeah, which is 1 day of Brahma. Correct. I think that is also mentioned. I always get confused with this Kalpa and Divya Yuga. Divya Yuga means the 4 Yugas, and Kalpa means 1,000 cycles of the 4 Yugas, which is 1 day of Brahma. Yes. Vanajakshi Mataji, Prabhuji, could you kindly enlighten on the terms Pralaya and Mahapralaya? So that's exactly what we were saying. Pralaya happens at the end of every Brahma's day, when half of the universe is, more than half, like until Swargaloka is submerged, and that happens when Brahma sleeps in the night. And Mahapralaya happens at the end of his life, when the entire universe is destroyed. And that time the water, everything, just the whole thing just gets dissolved. The entire universe, goes back and dissolves into the Karana ocean and goes back into the pores of Mahavishnu. So that's Mahapralaya at the end of Brahma's life. So, but every end of Brahma's day there is a Pralaya. There is also another Pralaya which happens at the end of every Manu. There are many Pralaya. Bhutva Praliyate. So at the end of every Manus, that means after every 71 cycles of the 4 Yugas, a little more than 71 cycles actually, to be exact, because 14 Manus come and go in the lifespan of, in 1 day of Brahma. So 1,000 Yuga cycles divided by 14 Manus, that means each Manu has rules for about 71 point something cycles of the 4 Yugas. So after each Manu, when there is another next Manu, that Sandhya period of that Manvantara, there is some Pralaya also that happens. So there are these regular Pralayas, and also we have smaller Pralayas in a form of earthquake, tsunami, this way, that way. These are much smaller than those universal Pralayas. But there is a general tendency, Bhutva Praliyate. On all levels there is small Pralayas, big Pralayas, and Mahapralaya, the ultimate Pralaya is when at the end of Brahma's life, when the entire universe is destroyed. Next, Rabinarayan Tripathi. Bhakta Rabinarayan Prabhu. Question. Prabhu request to have a class on Jagannath Charitamrita. There's so many pastimes of Jagannath. Anyway, that's after Īśopaniṣad maybe. Let's see how it goes. But today is actually Snana Yatra, very auspicious day, and we had a small celebration within the temple only. No guests allowed. So in the morning we did Snana Yatra, and then now for 15 days the Lord will not be visible on the altar, and after that we're supposed to have a Rath Yatra, but this year we can't do it because of this COVID-19 situation. Next year probably. But yeah, Jagannath has so many pastimes of Lord Jagannath. Vrajakishore Prabhu. So does that mean that Lord Varaha came only once in this day of Brahma, if this is Shveta Varaha Kalpa? Shveta Varaha Kalpa. Okay, I need to brush up my definitions of Kalpa again. Let's see what we get in this Kalpa. Always I make this mistake. A kalpa is a day of Brahma. Okay, here 8.17. And then kalpakshaye punastani kalpado. Here he is saying in the beginning of millennium, Shveta Varaha Kalpa. Swayambhuva Manu. We need to see when the red Varaha came and when the white Varaha came. Shveta Varaha Kalpa, that means this day of Brahma. Alright, it looks like probably it's once in a day of Brahma, right? But then there are so many yugas. In all those cycles, there are so many. Let's see. Shveta, I think there's one Varaha who came in the Swayambhuva Manu's time, and there's one Varaha. Definitely the Hiranyakashipu one was Swayambhuva Manu. There was one more Varaha in the Chakshusha Manu time, if I'm not wrong. Varaham, let's see. Thus, seeing the earth merged in water, Brahma gave his attention for a long time to how it will be. According to Jiva Goswami, the topics delineated here are of different millenniums. The present topics are of the Shveta Varaha millennium, and the topics regarding the Chakshusha millennium will also be discussed in this chapter. The name of this kalpa is Shveta Varaha Kalpa, in which Lord Varaha appeared to kill Hiranyaksha. Well, red Varaha, if I am not wrong. The present topics, okay, yeah, I think you are right. Shveta Varaha to kill Hiranyaksha, and the red Varaha, and topics regarding Chakshusha millennium will also be discussed in this chapter. Okay, here I think there is some, in the 3.13.31 purport. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, the Vedic literatures describe the incarnation of Lord Varaha boar in two different devastations, namely the Chakshusha devastation and the Swayambhuva devastation. This particular appearance of the boar incarnation actually took place in the Swayambhuva devastation, when all planets other than the higher ones, Jana, Maha and Satya, merged in the water of devastation. This particular incarnation of the boar was seen by the inhabitants of the planets mentioned above. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti suggests that the sage Maitreya amalgamated both the boar incarnations in different devastations and summarized them in his descriptions to Vidura. So he summarized different, the red and white Varaha in the Chakshusha and Swayambhuva devastation. That means, looks like Chakshusha is the what? Fifth Manu, right? If you are not wrong. The names of the 14 Manus are as follows: Swayambhuva, Swarochisha, Uttama, Tamasa, Raivata, Chakshusha. Chakshusha is just sixth, just prior to this Vaivasvata Manu that we are in now. Chakshusha, Vaivasvata, Savarni, Daksha Savarni, Brahma Savarni, Dharma Savarni, Rudra Savarni, Deva Savarni and Indra Savarni. So Chakshusha, and that means he came twice in this same day. Swayambhuva and Chakshusha, 2 times he came. So definitely the Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu one is the Swayambhuva one, because Swayambhuva Manu was there. And Chakshusha, it happened probably later on, which I think the description is not because of Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, just that the earth went into, But Shveta Varaha Kalpa, it is mentioned as Shveta Varaha Kalpa. So anyway, I don't know all these things. It's a little bit sometimes confusing, but it looks like both Varaha came in the same day. What is this? Somebody suggesting 2.10.46 purport. Srimad Bhagavatam 2.10.46. This process of creation and annihilation is described in summary herein as the regulative principle during the duration of Brahma's one day. It is also the regulative principle in the creation of Mahat, in which the material nature is dispersed. Well, yeah, this is all the creation, and therefore each day of Brahma is called a kalpa, and there are 30 kalpas in terms of Brahma's days. See, again, here is kalpa, but again, in the other place, it is mentioned Swayambhuva and Chakshusha Manu. So that appears in the same kalpa. So anyway, the Lord came for our purification. We chant His holy name and go back. If you really want to understand the pastimes of the Lord, sometimes it's inconceivable. But anyway, so thank you very much. If there are any more questions. Okay, no more questions. Thank you very much. Shri Īśopaniṣad ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki jai, Snana Yatra Maha Mahotsav ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.